With jubilation unto the Lord of the earth. Let all the earth worship thee and chant unto thee. Shout with jubilation unto the Lord, all the earth. Shout with jubilation unto the Lord, all the earth. Let all the earth worship thee and chant unto thee. Let all the earth worship thee and chant unto thee.
Wisdom.
The reading is from the epistle of the Holy Apostle Paul to the Galatians.
Wisdom, let us attend.
Brethren, when the fullness of the time had come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, in order to redeem those who were under the law, that we might receive the adoption as sons. And because you are sons, God sent forth the Spirit of his Son into your hearts, crying, Abba, Father. Therefore you are no longer a bondservant, but a son. And if a son, then an heir of God through Christ.
Peace be to thee that readeth.
And to thy spirit.
Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia.
Heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament proclaims the work of his hands.
Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia.
Day to day pours forth speech, and night unto night proclaims knowledge.
Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. Wisdom attend, let us hear the Holy Gospel. Peace be to all.
And to
thy spirit. The reading is from the Holy Gospel according to Saint Matthew.
Glory to thee, O Lord, glory to thee.
When Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and have come to worship him. When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And assembling all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. They told him, In Bethlehem of Judea. For so it is written by the prophet, And you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judea, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who will govern my people Israel. Then Jesus summoned the wise men and secretly ascertained from them what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word that I may too come and worship him. When they heard the king, they went their way. And lo, the star which they had seen in the east went before them, till it came to rest over the place where the child was. And when they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. And going into the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. And they opened their treasures. They offered him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed to their own country by another way.
Glory to thee, O Lord, glory to thee.
Please be seated.
Come sit in my seat. That's okay. I'll just set this back here though. Yeah. We don't mind. We gotta get the good video.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, now and ever, and to ages of ages. Amen. The lesson today is the Gospel of Matthew's version of the birth of Christ. At Vespers today, we read the version of Luke, which included the shepherds in the field and the angels and the manger. And this particular version of the birth of Christ is Joseph's version. Matthew has tended to, when he did the genealogy of Christ, it was the genealogy of Joseph. And the story as he told it, including Joseph discovering Mary was pregnant, was going to put her away, but was warned by an angel in a dream not to. And so this is the story of the events according to Joseph, the stepfather of Christ. And it tells us several really important things. First of all, that his birth was not limited to the Jewish people who were expecting a Messiah. And so they were not going to be able to contain it. These magi, these wise holy men from Persia, had seen a star, and they read essentially the astronomy of the heavens and knew that this was the birth of a very important king. A king who was not only a secular king, but a king who was a spiritual king. And so they traveled a great distance to come and give homage to this new king, a baby. And it tells us that the Jewish nation will not be able to contain Christ. But Christ will in fact be carried to the Gentiles, and his church will be universal across the world. The gifts are very interesting. Gold represents a gift to a king. Frankincense is a incense that is used to incense the holiest of holies in the temple in Jerusalem. And myrrh is, of course, an herb that is used to prepare a body after its death. And so it contains within these gifts a prediction of things that are going to occur with Christ. He is going to be a king. He is going to enter Jerusalem on a donkey as the Messiah king. He is going to be sent as God, and he is going to be put to death by the activities of Satan and evil and sin. And of course, the attack on him begins very early. Herod, who was obsequious with these wise men from the east, because he wanted to use them to find the baby, and he subsequently killed all of the males in the whole area of Judah to try to kill this king that might replace him. And of course, that's because he had a selfish grasp on the kingdom of Israel, and he had no understanding about what this king was, the king of heaven, not of the secular state of Israel. And so the battle against God, the Son, would begin literally at his birth, when there was an effort to kill him, to prevent him from succeeding of the journey of salvation, of carrying our human flesh through life without sin, through crucifixion, resurrection, when he, being the source of all life, could not be extinguished by death, and literally carrying us to the right hand of God. And the battle began, the battle that he would ultimately win on that awful day on Golgotha, when he defeated the total ferocity of evil, which was literally put at him in laser intensity, the hatred, the lie, and the whole thing. And he responded with love, forgiving the people who persecuted him, taking care of his mother and his tender-hearted young disciple John, and taking the penitent thief to heaven. And that day, the forces of evil would never again win, because he defeated them not by ferocity, not by 10 legions of angels, which he could have called out, but he defeated them by being who he was, the truth, love, and life itself. And he offers us, as we celebrate his nativity, his birth, he offers us to participate in his very life, which cannot be extinguished by death or by the evil in the world around us. In the name of the Father, and Son, and Holy Spirit, now and ever, and to age and ages. Amen.